and welcome to your Pilates session. We're going to do this whole session on the mat. And following on from recent hip sessions, we're going to work on strength and mobility of the hips. So by the end, you'll feel lovely and mobile in the hips, everywhere else a little bit as well, but definitely aware of those stabilising muscles. So first of all, we are going to lie down. So we are going to place our feet on the floor, hip distance apart, bending your knees, lie yourself down so your spine is lovely and long. Tuck the chin down a little bit. Be comfortable on the back of your shoulders and the shoulder blades. Maybe you want your arms to be out. And then maybe you'd like to do a few pelvic tilts, just pushing the lower back into the floor and release. Just finding your neutral position. So I'm just going to do one more. And then allow yourself to settle. So your neck is lovely and long, and as I say, you tuck your chin down, lovely and open across the front of the shoulders and the chest. Lie on the base of the spine and the back of the pelvis, and there's a small gap here in the lumbar spine. And what I'd like you to do first of all is just take a few slightly deeper breaths. And as you breathe out, just allow yourself to relax. And then also as you breathe out, just become aware of that pelvic floor muscle and that drawing in feeling around your waist, just lightly, so that you become aware of how to create some support and stability on many occasions for the lower back. But in Pilates world, this is the principle of centering, working from this centre. So all we're going to do initially is keeping nice and still on the back of the pelvis. Breathe in as you engage that deep abdominal and pelvic floor, and breathe out. Take the one knee out to the side and then back up. So you literally just turn onto the side of the foot and then return, allowing the knee to lower out to the side. Now you might notice one side feels a little bit easier than the other. You could put your hands on your hips or your pelvis at the front here to keep them still or check they're staying still, but we simply allow the knee to go out, rolling onto the outside of the foot and then return, and then the other one. And I'm going to suggest just 4 more. And maybe with each one you feel a little bit more mobile. Certainly just aware of the core. And then once you finish those 4, settle yourself back to the centre. But this time, as we always do really here, we breathe in. As you engage these muscles and breathe out, lengthen away one leg. Then breathe in on the return, and the other leg lengthens away. When we return the foot to the floor, and rest it lightly. Not pushing through the floor. If you leave an imprint on your mat, you're pressing too hard through the foot. I want your foot to rest really lightly, lengthening away the leg. As the leg goes long, you're conscious of this corset of support, maintaining the connection between your rib cage and your pelvis. I would like you, please, to do 2 more. And then allow yourself to settle back to the middle as you relax. From here, the feet can rest. We need the core a bit, but we breathe in. As you breathe out, take one arm up and back above the head, and then breathe in on the return, and then the other arm up and back above the head. So we're just taking that arm as far back as we can, with the elbow slightly bent, and hopefully you're getting quite far back, ideally reaching the floor, but I am very aware that sometimes life means we become a little bit tighter through the shoulders, and it becomes a bit more difficult. So we're just going to do 4 more. Return the arm, last 3, 2 more, and 1 more. And then we're going to simply add the opposite leg. So as the arm goes long again, the opposite leg does as well. And as we know, we are lengthening diagonally across the body, resting the feet lightly back on the mat. And we're simply trying to get a little bit more mobile, a little bit warmer in our muscles, and just become aware of the stabilising muscles. And at the moment, it's around your waist. Fabulous. Let's do just 4 more. Lengthen away and return. 3 more. And then last one, and as you return the arm, allow yourself to relax. Fabulous. Then take your arms out nice and wide to the side. Okay, palms up, so we open across the front of the shoulders and the chest, and then take your feet out to the edge of your mat. My mat's quite wide here, so I'm taking my feet out quite wide, and make sure your knees are quite bent. Breathe in. Think pelvic floor, deep abdominal, and as you breathe out, send your knees over to one side. And then draw yourself back and send your knees over to the other side. Now, as many of you know, the idea is we want to take this top knee down as close to the floor as you can. So that lovely bit of rotation of the spine and getting the top knee down. You can even hook it with the lower foot to give you a little bit of an extra stretch there as your knees go over. And I would like you to do 4 more of these, please, drawing yourself back from your waist, using your oblique muscles to move you, and not forgetting that drawing in feeling as well. And then once you've completed those 4, bring yourself back. Walk your feet back into the centre. What we're going to do now is open through the front of the hips. There's a couple of ways we're going to do that. We're just simply going to do a little bit of bridging. So feet close-ish to your bottom, hip distance apart, arms relaxed, breathe in. As you breathe out, tilt the pelvis, push the lower back towards the floor and lift your hips. And then gently take yourself back down. Now we're just going to do a few of these and then we're going to pop the block underneath our bottom. But as you do these, I want you to be aware of 2 things. Movement of the spine and activation of your bottom muscles. So as I say, we push the lower back into the floor. Think pelvic floor, deep abdominal. Lifting the hips. Sending your knees away from you. Gently taking yourself back down. At the top there, you don't need to lift the ribs, keep the ribs down, just lifting the knees away. And we're going to do just 1 more. And as I've done that one, I've grabbed my block from above my head and I'm going to lift my bottom a bit and pop the block underneath your bottom. Now some of you might want 2 blocks or you might want something a little bit bigger, but the aim is to open through the front of the hips here. So if you wish, you can keep your feet on the floor and return your feet to the floor or raise them. But what we do is make sure we're connected here between the ribs and pelvis, aligned as well. Breathe in. As you breathe out, take one leg lovely and long, tap the floor and then return. And then the other leg long and tap down and return. As you do this, we are trying to get that opening across the front of the hip there, that lengthening feeling. So take your time. Have that moment of pause at the end there where you are allowed, tuck the tail under even, just encouraging that leg to go down and get that lengthening across the front of the hip joint. So it's not just the muscles, actually the joint capsule, the ligaments and tendons that cross the joint need to go to their longest point. I'd like you please to do 4 more. Last 3. That belt of support. And then once you finish the 3, 4 more, give your knees a hug and get that little bit of rounding in your back. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is hold on to one leg, send the other leg long. Now I've really hugged this one leg, and my other leg long is straight. I'm keeping the leg pretty straight, so I'm going to use my thigh muscles, but I'm just allowing it to go down as far as is possible. Maybe your leg is resting on the floor, maybe it's sort of bouncing in the air. Rather carefully, bring that leg in and change sides. Send the other leg long and rest on the floor. And then, rather carefully, we bring the knees in, a little bit more rounding of the back, take our feet down and remove the block from underneath your bottom. And then rather carefully, you can either hug your knees or roll onto your side. We are going to come up into a seated position. When we're seated, it'd be lovely if we could all sit nice and upright with our legs out straight. But maybe life has made our hamstrings a bit tight and maybe around the hips, so actually this is quite difficult. In which case you can absolutely bend your knees. But wherever we are, the shoulder blades slide down the back. You're conscious a little bit of your belt of support. Breathe in. As you breathe out, round the back. And then draw yourself back up. So I'm encouraging you to round your back and then reach forwards. You will feel that stretch in your hamstrings, and we do need to do that. We do need a lengthening of the hamstrings. Draw yourself back, shoulder blades slide down your back, neck lengthens. And I'd like you to do 3 more. Realigning the spine, feeling lovely and tall as you come up. As I said, sliding your shoulder blades down the back of your rib cage and lifting up to the top of the head. 1 more for me. And then return. Brilliant. Okay, this is an unusual one. We've sort of done this before, but we're going to put our hands back and then we're going to bend our knees. And we're going to take our feet quite wide. So my feet are back to where they were before when we were lying down. Now we're going to sort of work one leg at a time really. We're going to send one leg in. Bring that leg in, and now my bottom is lifting as I turn away from you. Take that knee down as close as you can to the floor, and then the other knee goes in. So it's inward rotation of the hip. So maybe you can, elegantly, I sit like this, and we roll in, get that knee down, and then out, and then the other knee goes down. Now you might think, I can't get my leg anywhere near to the floor, but that's what we want to try and do, that inward rotation at the hip. You might find yourself walking down the mat a little bit, but it's all right. And we're just going to do 1 more on each side. I'll move my hands in a bit more so that knee goes down to the floor, and then we're going to change it slightly in that as the knee goes down, the other knee goes as well. So both go over to the side. And now we're quite used to doing this, but I want you to try and keep your bottom down, get that little bit of movement in the hips here as we send the knees over. Push in the hands and draw your shoulders away from your ears and just try to get this, as I say, rotation at the hip joints. So we're just going to do 1 more to each side. And then the other way. And then rest. Now I'm going to turn sideways for this one. You can still rest on your arms. You could even lean back and rest against your sofa. But we're going to lengthen our legs. Now I know some people do not like this, but as you know, we want to be strong around the knees. So we are going to sit back here with our shoulders away from our ears, lift up, and we're going to pull the toes of your right foot towards you and straighten the leg. And just pull the toes towards you and relax and pull them again, trying to really tense your thigh muscles and push the back of your knee towards the floor. Let's just do that once more. So I did 4 on that side. We'll relax that side, and then we'll do 4 on the other side. Putting the toes towards you, tightening your quadricep muscles. And then again, pushing the back of your knee towards the floor. If you've ever had a new knee, this should be very familiar. You'll do this as a rehab exercise, definitely. And then relax. And then we change it slightly. So pull the toes towards you, tighten the thigh, lift the leg. 5 times. Be careful, you don't want to give yourself cramp. And we need a straight leg. Oh, it's not easy. As we rest there, pull the toes towards you on the other foot, tighten the thighs, lift and lower the leg, the straight leg. Did you notice the emphasis? Well, sometimes your thigh muscles go, oh no, that's really hard, and start to cramp, so be careful. The good news is we're going to add a bit of movement to that. So we're going to go back to the first leg. We're going to imagine there's a cone here. And we're going to pull the toes towards you, lift the leg up and over the cone, up and back. Up and over the cone, up and back. Fabulous. Shoulders away from your ears. Support yourself a little bit. I've done 3 of those. That's 4. And 1 more. Oh. And then rest. With the knowledge that we're just going to do that on the other side. Good use of the block, I see. So some of us did this the other day and we lifted our leg over the block. You can do that again if you like. But it is essentially that lifting up slightly out to the side and over the top. 2 down, 3 to go. Good, and again. Oh, and 1 more. Now, I have to admit, that's not easy. As you rest there, maybe rub your quads, because it's working your quadricep muscles quite hard, particularly, obviously, the one that crosses the hip. Okay, so yes, your quads are so important, particularly for the knees, but also across the front of the hips there. So I'm sure that was quite painful. So for that, I'm a bit sorry. But what I'd like you to do, just to get your block out line, is lie on one side. So we're going to roll over and lie down now. I'm going to lie on our arm, if you like, or your block, whatever you like, but lie on your side, draw your ribs in, and we're lovely along down the side of the body here. Okay, tuck the ribs in, lengthen the legs. What I'd like to do here is use this top hand for a bit of balance. You could then also take the lower foot, behind you slightly. Top leg long. Imagine I've got hold of it and I've pulled it so you create space in the hip here. And then you want to take that leg back a little bit. We're just going to tap the floor and lift this leg 15 times, which is quite a lot. But what I want you to do is feel that you're working at the side of the pelvis here. That's it. Lifting and lowering this leg. Fabulous. I quite like that moment of pause at that side, that lifting point. And we're going to do 3 more. That's 3, 2, and 1 more. And then rest. And you may feel those muscles here at the side of the hip, so you might want to bring the knee over the top and give it a bit of a stretch. From there, what I'd like to do now is take both legs long. And I want the top leg to be just having a little bit of a rest-ish and going along for the ride, using the inner thighs on the lower leg. So we do need to be careful if you struggle with your back a bit. Please be careful. Draw the tummy in and lift both legs off the floor and gently lower. The other bit that can be a bit uncomfortable here is where you end up lying. So for me, I end up lying between the bony bit on the outside of your thigh and the bony bit of your pelvis there. There's that point there where those muscles lie. And we use the lower leg to lift. Now we're just going to do 10 of these. Drawing the tummy in to aid your balance, and you will also feel your obliques working at the waist here. So once you've done those 10, allow yourself a rest, and this time, if we can, we're going to lift both legs and lift and lower the top one and stay lifted on that lower leg. So the lower leg is really working hard with regards to the inner thigh, and this one working hard on the upper. And we're going to do 10. So working these abductors and adductors. Oh, try to relax the shoulder, please. Once you've completed your 10, allow your legs to relax. And you might feel the hip there. Okay, this time returning to lifting both legs, but we're going to also lift the upper body, so you're going to get a bit more oblique work. So breathe in to prepare. As you breathe out, engage the core, raise the legs and upper body, and down. Now if that's too much, bend the underneath leg and raise one leg and the upper body. You could also reach down towards the knee and lower, or reach down towards the knee and then take the arm up and do the big sort of sweeping action where we need to be quite balanced and in control. This lower arm can definitely help. And if you've counted, let's do 12 of these, if you can. If you think, no, 10's enough, then that's fine by me. Good, so we're working the obliques, these muscles, your core muscles, your adductors on the lower leg, abductors a bit on the upper leg. Brilliant, nice, really nice. And once you've done your 12, or if you've decided 10's enough, then that's fine. Bring that knee over the top. Oy, oy, oy. So we've got an exercise that's been renamed, and we're going to do that today. So the legs are long. The lower leg bends, foot behind you, top leg long. A client of mine called these the circle of doom. So we are going to circle this leg. The leg long, take the foot forwards, up, behind you and down. And again. And unfortunately, it's all about working on the strength and mobility of the hips, so we're going to try and do 10. That's a lot considering what we've just done. So please be quite careful. Make sure you get that leg behind you. You've got to work your glute maximus as you take the leg behind. Top hand can be in front for a little bit of stability. And once you've finished 10 circles that way, enjoy the stretch because you'll need it. Oh, circles of doom. They challenge these muscles here at the side of the pelvis. Take that leg lovely and long. This time, take the leg behind you, up, over the top. And again, backwards, up, over the top. Allow your neck to be relaxed, rest your head. And I know it's quite difficult. I really realise that, I can absolutely feel it. But this is where sometimes when you think, oh, I'm not sure, you need to push through it, gain that strength, work on the mobility. That's it. And once you've completed 10 nice big circles, taking that leg behind, up, over the top, allow it to rest. That is particularly evil, for which I am sorry. But as always, when we lie here on our side, bring the knees forwards. I can't not do arm openings. I get told off if I don't do them, so we are going to do them. My block is underneath my head, arms in front. You could do the circles. Make sure your knees are in front too, okay? As you take that top arm up, it sticks to your face as you take it around at that high point. It's lovely. And then return all the way around. Or you could then go back the other way. And return. Brilliant. This lovely big sweeping movement. As you allow your body to roll back, this nice rotation of the spine. Lengthening across the shoulder at the back there. You can feel that stretch. Some of you might quite like just going up and back. I sometimes need to move my rib cage. Just get the ribs up and round, get that lovely rotation. On the next one, why don't we go back and stay at the back there. Just enjoy the stretch. And then gently return. Now I don't know about you, but I can definitely feel this hip still, so I want to give mine a stretch. Some of you I know quite like to lie on your back. Bring that other leg towards you. You can push that leg out, but then you must take hold behind the other thigh and try and get a glute stretch. Or sit up and do it, however you like. But we really want to stretch these bottom muscles. Don't just sit there with your leg out. That's it. I like this one. This suits me down to the ground. As we are lovely and tall, if we do the seated one. And then we carefully relax. Take our block and pop it the other end. Or just turn your back on me. I don't mind. You can do that. You can hear me as we lie on our other side. So the second side always goes so much quicker. So we lie on our arm, ribs in, lovely long body,
Okay, and we bend the underneath leg so the top leg goes back behind you a bit. Lower foot goes back behind you a bit. Top leg lovely and long, and shift it back a little bit. You know what I mean? And lift and lower this leg 15 times. And if you recall on the other side, I spoke about having that moment of pause where you know you're really activating these muscles at the side of the hip here as you lift and lower the leg. Feeling that you're in the right place by having that leg slightly back. Fabulous. And we did 15, that's quite a lot, but really just to get these very important stabilising muscles of the pelvis working. However, we do have 5 muscles on the inner thigh known as your adductors. So once you have had a cheeky little stretch there, let the knee go over the top. We're going to take both legs lovely and long, stick your feet together, top hand can be in front. Breathe in. As you breathe out, lift both legs. And we just did 10 of these. So you will notice your obliques kick in a little bit, the muscles here around your waist. They are mover muscles connecting from your ribs to your pelvis, and they definitely become more active as you try and lift both legs. And the lower leg is the lifter. The upper leg is just going along for the ride. It's going to do more work in a minute. So we aim for just 10 of these. Okay, just 10. And then once you've completed your 10, have a small rest. You can use the top hand in front, shoulder away from your ear for stability as you lift the legs and then lift that top leg 10 more times. So you get both, you try and keep both legs off the floor. Fabulous. And you can feel it here and the lower leg maybe on the inner thigh. And once you've completed those, allow yourself a rest. Fabulous. Drawing the tummy in, hand can be in front or on your thigh or as you know above your head. We did the lifting of leg or legs and the lifting of the upper body. And we aimed for 12. Maybe you got to 10 and thought, oh no. Some of you lifted one leg and the head. Here, you did this. And the sweeping arm helps. If you're lifting one leg, bending the lower leg definitely helps with your balance. And your lower arm here can, as I slap mine on the floor, sorry. That's it. Fabulous. Also, control the lowering, lengthen away. That's it. Keep going if you can. And once you've completed 10 or 12, you can't do 11, you might as well do 12 if you're going to do that. Then you can rest. And as you rest, maybe the knee comes up like a long stretcher. Then we bend the underneath leg. Top leg really lovely and long. Create space in the hip, hand in front. And we did the circles of doom. So we took the leg forwards, up, behind you is what we definitely need to do. Take that leg behind so you get this lovely big range of movement, definitely working your bottom muscles. And I was a bit mean. We did 10 of these on the other side, so we have to do 10 on this side. Brilliant. Once you've completed your 10, let that knee come over the top, have a moment of stretch with the knowledge that you're going to go the other way. So long leg, take that leg back, up, over the top. And again, backwards, up, over the top. Brilliant, that nice range of movement here, shoulders away from your ears. Great Suddenly your circles are not quite so circular. Brilliant. All the way to the bitter end, knowing that even though it's quite difficult, you are definitely gaining in strength. I think I did an extra one. Perfect. Okay, so knees come forwards, block comes underneath your head, arms come in front. Maybe you did the arm openings, maybe you did a bit of everything. The big circly ones as you brush past your cheek and roll back, opening across the front of the chest and shoulder, and then return. Or maybe you went up and back. The arm up a bit higher just gives you that slight, well, definitely greater stretch across the shoulder there in your pectoral muscles as well, your biggest chest muscle, pec major. There's a minor as well, that's quite small. Enjoy the rotation of your spine. Enjoy the stretch, really aiding our posture, and I'm sure your legs are enjoying the rest. So arm openings or arm circles, it really doesn't matter, but what we're trying to do, as I said, is rotate the spine, stretch across the chest and shoulder. So on the next one, you might simply want to go back and stay there, enjoying the stretch. And then rather carefully bring yourself back over and let's stretch that upper hip. So I'm going to come into a seated position. I'll turn this way, cross the leg over and give it a hug with the opposite arm, sitting lovely and tall so you get that stretch. Sideline exercises are difficult, but really effective. If you're working against gravity, we often do many of those standing up, working on the strength and stability of the standing leg, but actually the sideline one is very, very effective. However, momentarily, I would like you to come onto all fours. So we're going to come round onto our hands and our knees. Shoulders back. Now, as you push up through the heels of your hands and draw your shoulders back, you are activating those stabilising muscles of the shoulders. Your knees are under your hips, hip distance apart, and what I'd like you to do here is take a few slightly deeper breaths. As you breathe out, think about that corset of support. Draw the ribs down, think pelvic floor, maybe you need to tuck the tail under a little bit. Some people do this, they collapse there. You don't want to do that. Tuck the tail under a bit, draw the shoulders back. And from here, you are conscious of this tabletop position. We breathe in. As you breathe out, lengthen away one arm and the opposite leg. Breathe in on the return. And then the other side. Now the reason for doing this is I just want you to notice your balance and strength on that through the hands and shoulders. And notice, I'm hoping for a moment, how easy it is to lift that leg. Really activating your gluteus maximus muscle, getting a little bit of extension in the hip. Now I know we've worked our bottom muscles and they're probably a bit fatigued, but it's more been the muscles at the side of the hip. Yes, this one, but more at the side. So this one, this exercise is we're doing today from an awareness point of view. Shoulders back, corset of support, opposite arm and leg, and then return. And then the other side. And I'd like you to do just 4 more, just 4 more. Shoulders away from your ears. If the arm is too much, then just do the legs. Just do the legs for the last few. And then, let's stretch around the hips. Take the knees out, hands forwards, and sit back. Stretch around your hips there, sinking yourself down between the knees as much as you can. And then from here, we're going to take both arms over to the left side. So take your right arm over towards the left, sink down, going to stretch down the side of the body there. And then rather carefully, take both arms over to the right
And again, sink down, get that stretch. And then bring yourself back up. And hopefully that sat back position there was quite nice around the hips, but we are going to roll ourselves over and once again have a lie down on our back. Now we're nearly there with regards to finishing our session, but what I want to remind you is this was all about the strength and stability of the hips. But let's mobilise the shoulders. So from here we're going to rest our arms to our side, feet on the floor, take a breath in. As you breathe out, take both arms up and back above the head and round the side as you breathe in. And then again. Now if that's painful on the shoulders, or shoulder, you could go up and back over the top. Okay, I don't mind. Whatever suits your shoulders a little bit better. And we're going to do just 2 more. And 1 more. And then rest. What I'd like you to do now is make sure your feet aren't too far away from you. Tilt the pelvis, push the lower back into the floor and bridge your way up, sending your knees ahead of you. As you're here, activate your bottom muscles to keep yourself up, and I'd like you to do some more arm circles. So breathe in. As you breathe out, both arms up and back and round the side. Notice, even in this slightly lifted position, I'm hoping for those of you who can reach the floor, you think, oh, that's really annoying. The floor is there so much easier. Just changes the angle at the shoulder a little bit. Let's do 5. I said 5 big arm circles. And the only thing that's happening here is we're mobilising our shoulders and challenging the stabilising muscles, or big bottom muscles, your gluteus maximus. Then gently take yourself back down. If at all possible, I should have said this, I've put my block above my head. Put the block between your knees and bridge your way up and stay up and do 5 more big arm circles. Just constantly engaging your biggest bottom muscle, gluteus maximus, and your inner thigh muscles, your adductors, as we do 5 arm circles. And maybe you're thinking, oh my goodness me, my bottom muscles are fatigued. Once you bring the 5 done the 5 arm circles, take yourself down. With the knowledge that this time we're going to push the lower back into the floor, bridge our way up, stay up here. This time, it's not about the arm circles, rest the arms. This is about squeezing the block. Squeeze and gently release. 5 times. Squeeze and gently release. You don't want to drop the block, of course, but just squeeze your block. 2 more for me. And 1 more. And gently take yourself back down onto the mat where you remove the block. 1 more exercise to do here as you bridge your way back up. We stay lifted, and if we can, we push through 1 foot, lift the other 5 times, either the heel or the knee, and tap the foot down 5 times. Some of you might be very happy to send a leg long, keeping your hips up and level. Last bit of hard work for your bottom muscles as you then place the foot down and lift the other 5 times. Last bit of hard work, as I said, for your glutes. Fabulous. And once you finish the 5, whether it be heel or leg, feet flat on the floor, go down onto the floor where I'm sure you want to give your knees a hug. Circling your feet if you like, and I'm sure you can feel your bottom muscles. Good news, feet return to the floor, together, stuck together, arms out nice and wide. Now what I would like to do here is some hip rolls, some not very elegant hip rolls. So what we're going to do is take the knees out. Now the feet were stuck together on the insides, but now they're stuck together at the soles. Okay, and the other thing is tuck the tail under. So in a neutral position, with your knees out as far as you can take them in a relaxed position there, arms out to the side. Breathe in. As you engage your core a bit, lift your knee, one knee, up, take it over to the opposite side. And now you're in a hip roll position. That knee leads up. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees out. Bring the other knee over. So we're doing hip rolls with an adductor stretch in the middle. So we're getting this lovely bit of rotation in the spine, lovely bit of movement deep within the socket of the hip, stretching your adductors, and as you go over, you'll stretch your glutes a little bit as well. A little bit. Let's do, so for me, it's 4 more from this one. So we go over, and that's number 4. Sending your knees and hips over to the side. 2 more. Bring the knee up and over we go. And last one. And then return yourself back to the centre, where maybe you notice that your knees are a bit further out. Maybe, as we've stretched 4 of your 5 adductor muscles. Carefully bring the knees up, and maybe you're very happy, or hopefully you're happy to lengthen your legs and lie them on the floor. Just tuck the tail under a little bit. Notice that neutral position if you can. From here, let's return to those big arm circles. Breathe in. As you breathe out, both arms up and back. Breathe in on the return. And then again. Now, as you lie here, I'd really like to think that you're quite comfortable in a neutral position. We really have moved and challenged the hips, the muscles around the hips, and mobilised the joint. Both of them. As you do, 2 more arm circles, please. And then 1 more. And then allow yourself to rest. Now here, you could keep your knees bent, or I might encourage you to bend your knees. I'll show you what you're going to do. Take the arms up and back, this time as you breathe in. As you breathe out, curl up. Some of you might think, actually, if my legs are long and I breathe out, I can curl up all the way. But you don't have to. Okay, you could simply stay down and curl here. Now with your legs long, you've got to be very careful, because we need to be able to do a pelvic tilt, push the lower back into the floor, come up onto the lower back, possibly. You might only come up here and you're still on the mid-back. If you're finding that quite difficult, bend your knees and try and do normal curl-ups. And as I say, if you wish to, come all the way up, doing a roll-up. And I don't usually start roll-ups from the floor. We really do need the encouragement of sort of weight going onto the back of the pelvis, the lower back down. But it is quite nice to get this flexion in the spine. Well done. Fabulous. I'm going to suggest 3 more. That's it. Brilliant. And once you finish the 3rd one, you can relax. And the question is now, as you relax here, before we stretch our hamstrings, is do you want to use your band to stretch your hamstrings, or simply hold your legs? So, you could, if you've got your band within reach. If you don't, doesn't matter. If your band is within reach, you pop it underneath the foot, in the arch of the foot today, as we straighten the leg. Then I'd like you to slide the other leg away. Now, if you've got fairly good flexibility, you can straighten the leg and hold behind the calf, but it is a lot easier with the band. And all I'd like you to do is just hold that leg so it's really straight. And even if you can't feel the stretch and the leg is out there, that's fine. Straighten the leg. When we breathe in, And as you breathe out, just draw that leg towards you. But what I'd like you to do now is combine the nice easy breathing that we sometimes do with this little stretch. So if at all possible, I'd like you to breathe through your nose. If you've got a cold, that might be a bit difficult, but we try and breathe in through the nose, taking a nice big deep breath in. And then I'd like you to breathe out and breathe out fully. Then I'd like you to do that again, please. Take a nice big deep breath in. And as you breathe out fully and draw the leg a little bit closer towards you. And then again for another deep breath. And you might find it is quite difficult to relax because obviously you're using your arms and you're stretching your hamstrings. But I'm hoping that with that deep breathing you have been able to increase your stretch significantly. As we hold here for 3, 2, 1, gently release and do a little crafty swap if you've got your band. Straightening your leg if the leg is all the way out there, that's absolutely fine. Lengthening the other leg away on the floor, easing the leg towards you. And then you could close your eyes, but I'd quite like you please to take a nice big deep breath in through your nose. And as you breathe out, empty the lungs and allow yourself to relax. Repeating that breath, but this time as you relax your body, just draw that leg a little bit closer towards you. Trying to increase the stretch in your hamstrings and the back of that thigh. Just one more deep breath, please. And then rather carefully remove the band from underneath your foot or allow your leg to lie long and just roll the feet in and out. Noticing how your hips feel. It's nicer on the back of the legs with your legs long. And then in your own time, we're going to bring ourselves up into a seated position. You can roll onto your side, you can grab your knees. But what we're going to do now is put the soles of our feet together and our knees out. And just stretch through the inner thigh here. You might lean forwards, grab your feet and lean forwards, but stretching through the inner thigh. Fabulous. And then we relax and maybe cross your legs. But the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to see when you come to get up how your hips feel. Worked, definitely. Mobile, definitely. And we move the shoulders a bit and we work the core a tiny bit. But it was all about the mobility and stability around the hip joints. Well done. Thank you so much for joining me. I do hope that when you come to get up, you feel all right.